Yes. Please take down some questions. No? No, 1 year down the line, you should not say, sorry, I haven't touched this topic or that topic. You should have a written record. No? Shall I start? What is the role of GEAC? GEAC, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. What is the role of GEAC in India's GMO? India's GMO products. GMO is genetically modified organisms or products. GEAC is Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. Right. What are the places? Second question. What are the places associated with Buddha? Yes. With Gautama Buddha. Why is he called as Gautama? His whole name is Gautama. Old name is Siddhartha. His son of Gautami. That is why he is known as Gautama Buddha. As simple as it. No, his mother's name is Gautami only. No, maybe. Don't worry. So, what are the places associated with Gautama Buddha? So that's a 2015-14 back-to-back questions. First question of 2 years back-to-back, and there are people who got it wrong. Just like this year, who got this money multiplier effect question wrong. 2020, there was a question, money multiplier. Same to same question with spelling mistakes came in 2021. Still people got it wrong. Whom to blame? People. Yes. Previous year questions. Mains. Prelims. Money multiplier. Okay. Sorry, banking. I don't remember the options, but I think yes. Next question. Third question. What are some examples? What are some examples of emerging technologies? What are some examples of emerging technologies? B, within the same question, B. Give some applications. Of distributed ledger technology. Give some applications of distributed ledger. Third line, right? Distributed ledger technology. Okay. Yes. Next. What is moral policing? That's it. And last question. What are the problems of border management in India? Right? So these are the most basic questions that you can think of in today's paper. We can go much deeper, but I think this will be more than enough. So just look at the questions, think of the basic answers if you know any. Right? How many questions do you know, and what is the relevance and significance? Next. So the first article of the day is, okay, you must have seen the question, right? Underline the keywords if you feel any keywords are there in the questions. Like, for example, emerging technologies, critical technologies. Do you know any critical technologies? Mm-hmm. What is that ledger technology? It's also blockchain. That is exactly blockchain. Okay, we'll see. See, okay. See, what most of the times the main questions will come from a very common area. We assume that the questions are not up to the mark, and the articles will be in the remotest corners. But UPSC has a knack to pick up such topics and make them into mains questions. First thing is, until recently we have discussed about the judicial activism and judicial overreach. Here Supreme Court is directly saying that Uttar Pradesh government is dragging its feet. So is there a parameter in this country to tell, you should conclude a investigation in this particular amount of time? There is a parameter. So why is Supreme Court so proactively intervening in Uttar Pradesh? Okay. Why only Uttar Pradesh? Why not other states? If you are doing it, why not do it for all other cases? Why not start with the Prakasing judgment? Right? So why target Uttar Pradesh? It looks like, judiciary is kind of overreach, but not overreaching. So it's a gray area for judiciary also. Yeah. So what should be done? Fast track courts should be established. But even for fast track courts to reach the case to reach the fast track court, police should work. So instead of saying UP is not doing this work, that work, Supreme Court should focus more on implementing the Prakasing judgment in letter and spirit. If you do the police reforms, automatically political influence will come down. Okay, so just keep that much in mind. Whenever you talk from judiciary point of view, you feel like judiciary is doing the right thing, but it is doing a short-sighted thing, not the long-term beneficial thing. Next, the Taliban case. So until recently, India did not recognize Taliban. We are not happy with the Taliban, but now Taliban is officially a part of the Afghanistan ruling elite, but still we don't recognize them legally. Remember the distinction, we don't recognize them legally, but we can negotiate with them. What are the advantages? Probably we might have some role to play in Afghanistan. Yes, it's an ongoing topic. New reality has to be accepted, but at the same time, we will legitimize Taliban when Taliban will win the election. Sooner than later, there will be elections in Afghanistan, and Taliban will win bumper majority. All of us know that, right? Yes, the same cabinet will continue through legitimate power. Okay, then Indian government might use Taliban. So why do we need Taliban? We have our own interest in Taliban. At the same time, we are focused more on the humanitarian rights of the Afghan people. When all the world is ignoring the Afghanistan people, India will fight for the human right values of Taliban. So that will promote and protect the India's soft power. So basic questions, don't worry. There is not much value addition in such kind of articles, but the perspective is more important. What about this? Yes. Yemen. Tigray region.
So why not is it their strategic importance?
Because we don't have an immediate land boundary with all those nations. That is one reason. Second thing, we issue statements like we condemn such acts in Yemen, Syria, Myanmar, Korea, wherever people are starving in the world, we issue statement. But with Pakistan and Afghanistan, we have an immediate ramification on the India's national security and global peace. So that is why India is proactively discussing these particular areas. So it's common sense, right? I mean, in the sense, it's right and wrong. It's right because our immediate neighbor. Not. So if we do all those things, we actually can automatically promote ourselves as a permanent member of UNSC Security Council, right? So India should do that also. Right? Good question, by the way, because good is good everywhere or bad is bad everywhere. We should not be blind to one problems. But the thing is, we are being extremely pragmatic. For example, if I discuss about Yemen, Saudi Arabia will be hurt. Yes. And who are bombing Yemen? USA plus Saudi. So why do I want to poke my friends in the eye? Okay. Yeah. Very good. Yesterday, right, we have discussed GM crops. So we know the problem. We know the problem. We can see here and we can see in the editorial that probably GM crops might have escaped the fence. Not walk, they cannot break the fence. Somebody must have done something. Who is suspended? See, GM crop is a very serious issue. What if there was actually a ramification? What if there was actually a allergy? For example, I ate GM rice. Being an Indian, I have some genetic code. I ate the GM crop. I may have developed some allergies. Who is responsible for all such activities? That is why we do pilot testing. Even in the pilot testing, if the seeds are escaping, then the regulatory mechanism is not perfect. It has to be airtight. So that is the one lesson we can learn. But thanks to the circular nature of current affairs, we came to know what is genetic engineering appraisal committee. Yes, what is its role? Okay. Direct prelims question. Buddhist circuit. Okay. So what are the places associated with Lord Gautama Buddha? All the places you should know. Map pointing also you should know. And it is related to soft power. Yes or no? This is one of the advantages of India. We have a lot of things for soft power, Buddhism. So Sri Lanka, all the Southeast Asian countries are very well connected to Buddhism. So no new, it's self-explanatory. So are we leveraging it? How are we leveraging it? Tourism. Yes or no? Tourism has a lot of spillover potential. I told you, right? Economic revival. Tourism has a lot of potential. Udan scheme, we started connecting all the small places through flights. More tourism happened. If we connect international flights to the Buddhist destinations, automatically new hotels, taxis, the livelihood, hotel workers. So a lot of employment will be generated using tourism. And India does not have any shortage of tourist places. Every 150th, every 1.5 kilometer, we have a new temple, new story. Yes or no? If you actually stop at every temple, you will never complete that trip. Yes. So we have such huge thing. At least now the present government is very proactive in promoting the Buddhism. Always remember, Buddhism is a hardcore favorite topic of UPSC, both in prelims and mains. Guaranteed one question either in prelims or mains. The more you know about Buddhism, still it's less. No matter how much you learn about Buddhism, okay, it's totally fine. You should probably compete with Dalai Lama, but it's still, they have asked one time a question like this. A mudra will be like this. What is that mudra? Very good. Previous question, right? So Bhumi Sparsha mudra. So after that, people have taken the pictures of all the Buddhist hands. Yes, and by hearted all the hands. Okay, you don't joke. I'm not joking. It's true. People have mugged up all the hand positions of Gautama Buddha. Okay, probably very few Buddhists also know that. UPSC aspirants know everything. The power of UPSC. Right. Behavioral change campaigns are very important for reducing air pollution. So see, there are two kinds of answer writing. When you write answers, base points will be there, value addition points will be there. Value addition means something from current affairs. Okay, for example, stopping the vehicles at the red signals will save you 15% of fossil fuels. Okay, that's a value addition point. You can get that just by reading the headline. Okay, when you write such points in your mains, for example, in 2021, along with the air pollution, what are the steps taken? Behavioral change, nudge. Okay, red light on, Gaudi off. You highlight it, underline it. It will tell the examiner you are very contemporary. You know the most latest current affairs, and it's one free point for air pollution. You don't have to mug up complicated data, right? National air quality standards on this. This is common sense. Whenever there is a red signal, you turn off your vehicle. Value addition. So if you are writing 10 points in air pollution answer, 1 point should be this. Just by heading. No need to read the entire article. Clear? There is one more article. I think. This is a potential mains question. Again, it might develop into a full-fledged topic by next year. So 2021 slim chances, 2021 high chances. Should we go for e-voting? E-voting will reduce the lot of electoral problems. Critically analyze. So they might ask you a question like, e-voting is a solution to all the electoral problems in the country. For example, we never cross 80-85%. Okay, we can have 100% voting. Yes, then there is acquisition of EVMs, malpractices. So all these things can be removed by using e-voting. E-voting can be applicable in many places, not only in general elections. For example, in parliament also we can introduce e-voting. Right? Eyes. You must have seen, right? First time I thought eyes. Right? Then I read EAY is eyes. It's eyes, not eyes. Okay. So like this, there will be a lot of things in parliament. So e-voting has a lot of potential, and they are finalizing it using blockchain technology. See, they are using a term known as distributed ledger. Distributed ledger is nothing but blockchain technology. Okay. So if I vote, it is registered in blockchain and it is probably authenticated using Aadhaar, then I will exactly know who voted for whom. Okay, so common sense, if you think, what are the problems with the e-voting system? Common sense, no technical details. Whom? Okay.
Anonymity, lack of anonymity.
Lack of anonymity. Let's say that is concretized with Election Commissioner of India. Only he will know, no political party will know. Or it will totalize. That means who vote, instead of saying who voted for whom, that data will never be stored. That will only be used for verification. That means Aadhaar data will go to the Aadhaar server, ping back and say yes, it is only Bhuvishri, and it will come back. That's all. It won't be stored. So Aadhaar can be used for authentication and not for storage purposes. Even today, that is what happens with Aadhaar. Your data is not stored anywhere but in Aadhaar servers. When you go to that Airtel store and put your thumb, Airtel will just a ping. Okay, yes, done.
So digital divide is there.
Okay.
That is what I'm
Digital voting. Okay, fine. Digital divide. What else can be the problems of e-voting? Sorry? How? Probably will still come to a polling booth or something.
political.
Probably.
So political and behavioral inertia.
Cyber crime. So again, distributed ledger technology, blockchain technology will avoid all the crimes because it's very hard to hack the blockchain technology. The sheer encryption that the blockchain offers is unparalleled.
Especially in rural areas.
Difficulty in rural areas. Fingerprints manipulated. Okay.
Glitches due to inclusion exclusion.
So probably we can have three things, right? Facial biometric, Aadhaar, and iris. Blood test also. 3. Right? 4 things can be done.
Already so many.
No, facial biometric is a real thing. I'm not joking. Facial biometric, Aadhaar facial biometric is being developed. So sooner than later, you will have a pay system where you will go to a shop, you will show your face, and payment is done. Okay, it is already being implemented in China. So automatically it will come to India, right? Yeah. Aadhaar face facial biometric. It's a true story.
But using Aadhaar for voting purposes is generating.
We will amend the act. Not a big deal.
There are still some errors in
Aadhaar. Yes, okay, fine. But e-voting, personally, we are going back to Aadhaar. Right? We are saying e-voting. What problems of e-voting? Husbands can pressurize the wives to vote for a particular political party with autonomy. Our daughters can be pressurized by fathers emotionally.
The voting will still be
Booths.
Like,
In booths, then probably we can. Then what is the having e-vote?
Yes, that is. Everybody want to have
So we
access
should
to-
not give e-votes to everyone. If somebody can come to the booth, he should have normal voting system only for people working in remote areas, NRIs, all these Americans, old age people who cannot come, differently abled, pregnant women probably, yes, are extremely lazy people. All these people can vote for e-voting. So if you have a choice to go to the booth and vote, which one will you choose? Booth only? Sure.
Okay, that's a lie. Sir,
Why like? You don't allow the 19.1 to explore in the class. Everybody have 19.1 and 21, right? Articles. Right to freedom of expression. They might be genuinely lazy. Who are you to say that? Right? Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
sir, why not political inertia is a
Why political inertia will be there?
sir because already EVM is in practice in so many years, and still people say EVM is hacked. Still we see statements coming, and we say blockchain technology. Some leader, as we have discussed, some XYZ is becoming defense minister. Why? Then again, the democracy comes in.
Two things
They
can
have to
happen,
listen
right?
to that people.
See, two things can happen. Let's say blockchain technology has been perfected by 2024 elections. BJP has come into the power. Then you can assume an entire section of the population becomes experts on blockchain technology overnight
Sir, but that is not true.
through WhatsApp University. Right?
Sir, that is not true, sir. Already there is a complaint that bills are being rushed, and there will be definitely a lot of opposition by political parties that you cannot bring in new technology in voting.
Two things is,
So
it's
why
a-
not political inertia is a reason?
you are
it will
probably
be a-
using that word political inertia in a very different sense of the term, and you are meaning something else. What I understand from you is political non-acceptance. For
Yes,
example,
sir.
I am Congress. I will never accept that I lost because of people were not interested in me. I will say it's fault of Rahul Gandhi. Okay, right? Or blockchain technology. Okay, so fine. Yes. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's an idea whose time will come. May not be in 2024, but definitely in your own lifetime, probably you will have an vote through blockchain technology, and it's going to happen very soon than you think. And second thing, all your land records will be digitized using blockchain technology. Almost your entire digital data will be registered in blockchain technology. Digital health card will be blockchain. So the idea of distributed ledger is happening. We cannot stop it. The only thing is time and cost. It's very costly now. It's not perfect now, but sooner than later it will be perfected. I was actually surprised to see, because I was not aware this was happening in Telangana itself, right? And they were even pilot testing. So that shows how much we are actually doing the things at the ground level. So once we have started, now we have some empirical data. They will modify it. They will make it better. Within 6 months, it will become even good. So that is how you implement any change, right? That is beta testing, pilot testing, then 1, 2, 3, slowly we will rectify it. Probably we will implement in the municipal elections. Nobody will buy, right? In the municipal elections if your EVM is not working. It's okay. Clear?
So then what this political inertia term is used?
Inertia is like, they are not having this interest to promote this intra-party democracy. For example, you can say Rahul Gandhi have inertia. He is not, again, personal opinion, not invested in the growth of Congress. He has nothing to do with it. If it grows, fine. Or else I'm still a Gandhian. My family is Gandhi family, Gandhi party. That is inertia. The outlines of national security policy. What is the core summary of this article?
Evolution of the national
We said
security.
that the land, the GDP of the nation size is not going to matter, and because warfare has become cyber now.
So innocent people. All the class is so innocent. He's saying Nirmala Sitharaman is not effective. Make finance minister. I will show you. I will prove you how.
Yes, sir. Last
Very smart PPT to say that the theme is to hide the most important meaning under all those things. Okay, what is he trying to say? Resource mobilization. Okay, just think about it. He was talking about cyber security. He ended with economy. Why? And what is his core argument? If the system do not have money from demand end, print money. Okay, supply end money. If I was finance minister, I would have printed the money. That was his core issue. Okay, so if we ignore that political argument, the rest of the article has some valid points to suggest. Some, not all. Right. Is cyber security a real threat? Yes. Why China? Right? After Galwan incident, China actually hacked some country. Okay, again, we will use diplomatic language. Some non-state actor or state actor have hacked the power supply, the critical infrastructure. Think about it. Everything in India that your life depends on is digitized. Aadhaar, bank account, DBS, DBT, the insurance, right? Your tax information, everything is digitized. All such databases are critical infrastructure. Vahan database. If you ever open Amazon website and try to buy a car cover, okay, if you search from your father's account, if your father account phone number and your father account license details phone number are matching, then Amazon will tell you have this particular car. Okay, you have this particular car and this cover will not fit you or fit your car. Why? How does Amazon know? Vahan database has been sold to Amazon by government of India, official, right? So that means all the data sets are freely available in the market. The only thing waiting is somebody to hack it. Luckily, we have good amount of encryption. It is not hacked. So you understand, right? All those things are critical infrastructure. For example, your power grids. Power grids are critical infrastructure. Nuclear plants are critical infrastructures. Okay. So when we are connecting everything to digital world, there is a high probability that someone can hack it and block the let's say power supply of Mumbai for 3 hours. That will cause crores and crores of losses. Yes or no? Hospitals will collapse, or oxygen supply can be hampered, or tax data can be manipulated, which will slow down the economy. All those who have seen Die Hard 4 can understand. Yes, in simple way. Okay, that is the power of critical infrastructure and digital databases. Now, China has sent a message to India after Galwan Valley incident that we are capable of doing that to you. They did not do that because obviously everybody will find out who did that. So they just gave a hint. Don't mess with us in the real world. We can destroy you in
Digital world.
cyber world, because cyber world is a very, very powerful thing right now. Okay, that is why we need to invest in national cyber security policy at a very severe level. See, cyber crimes can be simply classified into 4: war, espionage, terrorism, and crime. Cyber war, cyber terrorism, cyber espionage, cyber crimes. Cyber crimes means मैं SBI से बात कर रहा हूँ. Okay, your debit card is lost. Okay, all the trivial thing is cyber crime. Okay, for us it might be a funny thing, but for Russian mafia, it was a livelihood. It was Narega scheme for Russian hackers. Hack every account possible, steal $2. Even if you steal $2, you're still making millions, right? Just think about it. If SBI is deducting 1 rupee from all the accounts in India, SBI is still making hundreds of crores. Yes or no? So like this, cyber crimes used to happen. For us, 1 crore, but somebody became billionaire in Russia. Okay, cyber war, cyber crime, cyber terrorism, cyber espionage. That means hacking. Espionage is spying, right? Yes. So Pegasus is one kind of espionage. Yes or no? So see, we know Pegasus is created by a Israeli company, and that is something that can be purchased. If a private company can create such a sophisticated app, okay, what if the Chinese government appoints 100 best engineers and decide to create a spyware which can be installed in most of the phones? Let's say Indian Defense Minister phone has been hacked. How will we know? We should be counteractive, proactive, right? You get the idea. Next, cyber terrorism. For example, North Korea can have a lot of ransomware. It can create a lot of issues. I think last year ago, a nuclear plant in India found some ransomware. It did not affect the core reactors. You must have heard about Stuxnet, STUXNET. What is Stuxnet? Have you ever heard about Stuxnet, STUXNET? It's a spyware. It's a malware actually. It's a virus that was created by USA and Israel combinedly to destroy the nuclear weapons or nuclear reactor of Iran. Okay, just understand this. It's a virus which was created dedicatedly for one nuclear plant in Iran. Okay, so what is the specialty of that virus? That virus will activate only when it sees a particular motherboard, Siemens motherboard of a particular model. If that virus sees only that kind of motherboard, it will get activated, or else it will be spreading throughout the world. It may come to your phone. It will not do anything. It will check, okay, this is not what I was looking for. Then it will move on to new things. Okay, like this, finally it has reached the Iran nuclear power center. It was almost successful to shut down the cooling reactors. When the nuclear reactor is working, what will happen when you shut down the cooling reactors?
It will blast.
It will blast. So such kind of sophisticated weaponry was designed by USA and Israel combinedly, known as Stuxnet. Luckily, they were able to stop that virus in the right time. Just imagine, nuclear reactor is running, you are shutting down the cooling. It will lead to Chernobyl 2.0. Yes, so that is the power of virus. So we may not understand, but thanks to Corona, we understand biological virus. We should also understand man-made computer-based viruses. Okay. Now, what if China develops a similar virus only for Indian nuclear reactors? So there is also one more concept called as air gapping. Air gapping, AIRGAPPING. Air gapping means, let's say this is nuclear reactor. Okay, this entire building is nuclear reacted. So it will be air gapped. That means not a single thing which carries internet will come into this building. Okay, if this is a nuclear reactor, any employee, anybody who works there will not bring anything that works on internet into that particular complex. That means it is totally air gapped with the next surrounding internet sources. In spite of this, in India, we found a ransomware in the nuclear reactors. It was a very basic malware, but still somehow it bypassed the air gapping. Okay. Yes. So I think those who underestimate the power of technology or viruses and all those things, I have two movie recommendations for you. One is Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye, EAGLE, Eagle Eye. It's a fantastic movie about the power of artificial intelligence. Okay. The next one is a series known as Person of Interest. Right. If you have time only.
Is it Netflix?
Amazon Prime. Torrents.
Nice.
Okay. So now recent trend, I think for your generation, it's Telegram. So just because we were not affected with all these things, we should not be innocent to assume these things don't exist in the real world. So the best thing to do is be as ready as possible, be as proactive as possible. For that, we need more resources. Make whom finance minister, automatically you will have more resources. Okay. Yes or no? By the way, he is the father of Suhasini Haidar. Resource mobilization. I don't think, see, except this paragraph, he is kind of making sense, right? Except the resource mobilization part, which is his core agenda. Okay. The rest of the article is reasonable. See, you are not aware, but Hindu editor knows this. See, if I know Hindu editor, will definitely know, right? So majority of the people will know that why he wrote this article. The thing is, still, such ke aspas wala jhoot ko pakadna mushkil hai. I mean, a lie which is closer to truth is always difficult to find. So he's saying 75% useful things, 10% not so useful things. Why not push the article?
So, right, that's what, sir. I was reading in the morning, and what is this money pumping, money printing in the end after cyber security? I was wondering.
So that is how you read between the lines, right? Yeah, don't worry. But his suggestions like cyber security policy, we have to have alternative technologies. We should be ready for critical infrastructure. These are all mains questions. A very good editorial after a long time for a change. Yes. What is Hindu trying to tell you?
The on paper
Change-
laws are not sufficient. We need to implement it and
Attitudes
make
and
the
change.
society
Attitudes will change among the people.
Both should be in coherent.
So there is a GS paper known as Determinants of Ethics. There is a GS paper 4. In that, there is one line known as Determinants of Ethics. So what is ethics? Ethics is like a highest form of ideal. Ethics is like highest form of ideal. Whereas value changes from person to person. If value of everyone reaches that place, let's say for example, killing is wrong. According to her, killing is wrong. According to her, killing is wrong. If all of us come to a consensus that killing is wrong, we can call it as ethics. Okay. So when values have a near global consensus or near universal consensus, we can call them as ethics. And it is not changeable. Once we rise it to the level of ethics, okay, it is more or less fixed. For example, your relative killed someone. Then I can come and ask you, is killing wrong? Then you say, no, sir. Because it is not subjective, it is not relative, it is temporal. 1000 years from now, killing is wrong. Killing someone by your loved ones is wrong, or whatever. If it happens to you or you does to someone, wrong is wrong. So such near universal acceptance is ethics. Okay, value is person to person based. Today I have a value system. Tomorrow I am more educated. I might improve my values, or I may fall back in my values. So values are fluctuatable, whereas ethics is standard. In that sense, LGBT in current situation is more or less like a value system. Okay, it is fluctuatable. Society is not even considering it as a value. What is the value? Acceptance of who you are. Yes or no? Acceptance of who you are. Society thinks it's unnatural, right? The love between two people from same gender is considered as something taboo. Okay, so what happened few months ago? Justice Anand Venkatesh. You must have remembered him. I think your batch had the classes, right? No? Justice Anand from Tamil Nadu, Madras High Court. So a lesbian couple came in front of his court. Okay, he said, "I'm not aware of who you are. See, I don't know what being gay is or what being lesbian is. I am from a conservative family." Then the petitioners gave him some counseling sessions. They took him, they educated him, they empowered him. He understood finally what it is being in love. Okay, so you are in love with a girl or with a boy. Okay, it's the same with the LGBT couple. Love is love for them also. It's not about some physical attraction or some biological issue. It's pure emotional, just like any other normal couple. Then he gave a very progressive judgment saying LGBT people should be not having any problem in the society. So if you go to, say, for example, some Ayurveda clinics or psychological clinics, what will they say? Give this juice to your daughter, she will be cured. Okay, bring her to me after counseling, I will cure him. So they still think LGBT is some psychological or mental disorder that can be cured. But Justice Anand said all that is crap. Okay, Medical Council of India should change their curriculum. Police should treat them very nicely, and he also gave some instructions to the state to implement it. So why are we discussing it? We are discussing it in the context of morals becoming ethics. So Justice Anand had a different value system. He was born and brought up in a different value system. Okay, he got educated and his values are more powerful now. Oh, he's more clear, and he is delivering a judgment as a judge, not as an individual. Now the judgment is universal. For example, if it is implemented in Madras, it will also be implemented in Hyderabad, Delhi, everywhere. So slowly, the next generation Indians will think LGBT is a natural thing. It's normal thing. It's not something that you discuss. For example, if some foreigner comes, we stare at them. Yes or no? We keep staring at them. Whenever you go to your tourist place, they are from space. Yes. So why that?
They're different from us.
They are different from us. Okay. He's bit more whiter, fairer, or blacker than us. Okay, we keep staring. If it is from some African nation in metro, I don't even know what to tell. They will look them at like, so the poor foreigners, right? So in the same way, when someone comes and says to you that I'm a LGBT person, okay. If you can give that reaction in the next generation, then the societal morality has been uplifted. Okay, so law will act as a determinant of ethics in future generations. We, at least us, the present generations, are born and brought up in a different generation, a different mindset. But the next generations will have a new moral code because of legal judgments. Okay, so not only that, society should also change. So remember, law is a very, very powerful motivator to change the ethics and moral values in the society. Nothing changes like law. For example, open defecation was okay for everyone. Yes or no? Swachh Bharat Abhiyan made it a taboo. Unless the state is not deciding it's a immoral act, okay, you considered it as a okay act. I'm not saying it's a moral, it was okay for you. But because of state's push, open defecation becomes something a wrong thing. So the next generations will think, defecating in openings, a irritating thing. It's a wrong thing. It's something uncomprehendable. But if someone tells that, even in 2019, 60 crore people were openly defecating, they will laugh like anything. Yes, sir. No? In the same way, LGBT will be normalized in 2030, 2040, 2050 probably. Gender justice will also be normalized by 2050 by judgments like Shabarimala. Yes, that women have the right to go to any place that she deserves to. Clear? So that is the power of law. And for example, empirically, if we see, there is a wonderful case study, Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, I hope you know. Rosa Parks is a person who was asked to sit in the back seat in a colored bus.
Yes, sir.
Okay. NCRTC is there. Okay.
Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement in the USA. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay. So Rosa Parks was traveling in a bus. She was an activist. She was pushed back into. She was asked to sit in the reserved seats for the blacks. She refused. Then it became a movement, and that led to the civil rights movement in USA. Later on, what happened is the books written about her, okay, were kept in a different section in the library. It was made into mainstream. Okay, once it was made into mainstream, the next generation of Americans never thought, it's a normal thing to discriminate the blacks, at least educated ones, right? So you understand the power of small changes. Okay. So I hope the state will also proactively take the court's judgment and convert the societal morality into constitutional morality, right? But still, India has miles to go to even see that kind of dream, because it's not the problem of the parents. I won't blame the parents also, right? Why? They are totally born and brought up in a whole different generation. It's very difficult to blame for them to comprehend whatever is happening.
The last line is where it said societal morality to constitutional morality.
Our constitutional morality should be replacing societal morality. Constitutional morality should replace societal morality.
Parents are not being blamed because they're born in the judgment, born in a different generation and raised in a different. The counseling helps him to understand better. Likewise, parents also, if they get counseling, shouldn't it be better for them to understand?
Definitely, 100%. I totally understand with your argument. What I'm trying to tell you is, Justice Venkatesh Anand was that mature person who was even accepting that, there might be something I need to learn. If I'm the father, if I say, that can be cured with some medicine, okay, I won't even have the alternative thought. And see, human beings are purely emotional creatures, right? I have an idea. I have a fixed idea that I want to marry my daughter to a particular person. Okay, suddenly she comes with a fellow girl and she says, I'm in love with her. That is something of a mental shock to that person also. Right? So the problem is, no problem, right? See, that is what I'm trying to tell. So the problem is, it's something that we cannot even comprehend, and let alone that happens to me, right? Then I have to accept that idea. Then I have to discuss with her. Probably then I might slowly accept. I'm not saying the entire generation is useless. There are always good people, right? They might, at least for the sake of love of their daughter or son, they might be willing to listen. But as long as these buffoons who exist in the society say, I can cure it, they will think there is a hope. Right? See, if I don't know something, I cannot, or I should not speak about it, right? Like if I don't know what is LGBT, then how can I cure it? So but people believe them. Actually, we don't know how many people are going through a lot of trauma. If somebody is openly declaring that he's a gay or a lesbian or a queer, they are they are criticized by the society. The families try to hide it. They forcibly married. I have seen few cases where the girl was forcefully married. She was a lesbian, and then later date they got divorced. A lot of drama. All these things could have been avoided if we just accept who we are. So the Indian ethos actually allow all these things, but the problem is we lost trace of what is Indian ethos.
So do the Indian athletes allow?
Yes, definitely. If you go to temples, Khajuraho and all those things, we have LGBT. There was a huge celebration of same-sex marriage. We never had any objection because Indians never thought sex is a, or sex is a purely biological element. It is something for a higher pedestal. So we were okay with anything as long as you are moving in that direction of moksha.
Well, then Shikandi and
Mahabharata characters were there, but
Brahmanala.
Arjuna is
not Branala, so this
He was
Shik-
transgender.
Shikandi.
Shikandi.
Brahmanala is also transgender, right? Arjuna was
Like
cursed with the transgender.
no sir, this then Bhishma
Hmm.
leaves the weapon.
Hmm.
So what is he conveying to us?
He is a product of his generation. Yes, I will defend Bhishma. I won't blame Bhishma
but
because
even women come, they leave the
really, yes. Patriarchy. When am I saying it's not patriarchy? If I say it's not patriarchy, then you come and talk to me. I'm saying it's pure patriarchy. Okay. The carbon markets conundrum. Yes. Yes. See.
Buying and selling of property.
So what is it trying to tell?
Double counting should not be there.
Before that,
Chain development.
macro thing. What is a macro thing?
Mitigation measures to be taken.
Sorry.
Mitigation measures to be taken
No sir.
for sustainable development.
There should be differential treatment for developed and developing countries.
That is the present model, right? That is the present model. There is a differential treatment between developed and developing nations. First of all, what are carbon markets? Recently, we have seen Delhi Metro has sold some amount of carbon credits. So, all such mechanisms are known as carbon markets. For example, I am Delhi Metro. I use renewable energy. I travel certain amount of kilometers using green energy. So, if I calculate all the travel on an average, I am saving, let's say, 2 tons of carbon dioxide. If I'm running on diesel, probably I would have released 2 tons of carbon dioxide. But using clean technologies, I saved 2 tons of carbon dioxide. So somebody will give me that credit known as green carbon credit. Then what will I do? I will take it and sell it to, let's say, some company. That company is burning fossil fuel. It is producing a lot of carbon dioxide. It can buy my carbon credits. So in reality, if that company is releasing 10 tons of carbon dioxide, it can be shown as 8 tons. Why? 2 tons it has purchased from Delhi Metro. It's a simple mechanism where carbon can be traded. In reality, what is carbon trading mechanism doing? It is allowing the people who emit to continue whatever they are doing, and it is allowing the people who are not doing it to earn money. It's a business opportunity rather than a mitigation mechanism. Yes, they are burning. Delhi Metro is saving. So what is happening? Balancing out. In reality, what should happen? Delhi Metro should continue doing the good work. They should also work on reducing the carbon emissions. Right now, what is happening? 10 I will release anyhow, 2 I will purchase, 8 I am showing. So you are not changing anything, right? So the entire mechanism has become a money-making exercise, right? But it's not a crime. Why? Let's say Delhi Metro is owned by Government of India. Delhi Metro made some money. If I take that money and invest in technologies, R&D, research, which will help the company to automatically reduce it to 8. Then if it is purchasing from Delhi Metro, it is actually showing 6, which is a good thing. So the fund mechanism, which is there, where the money should be going to, it should be collected properly and it should help reduce the cost of carbon emissions. So that should be done. Clear? So that is one major theme to notice in this article. That so what is happening? The last paragraph nicely summarizes it. There is a concept called as climate justice. Is India at a receiving end or a giving end of the climate justice? We are at the receiving end of the climate justice. Now every country is coming and saying India should go for net zero. Okay, they are forcing us to become net zero, but in reality, we still have to spend a lot of energy on becoming a superpower. Okay, so while I reduce my emissions, developed countries should also help me by supporting the fund mechanisms properly. They should help me in technology or money, and these mechanisms should not be reduced to some trading exercise. Okay, because all the poor countries will be happy to receive money, right? If, for example, Haiti, Mauritius, they are investing in clean technologies, they will make money. They will make more money. That is not the end goal of carbon mechanisms. The carbon mechanisms is to reduce the emissions, not just manage the emissions. Okay, so don't worry about the too much technical details on what he is trying to say. This article is written by an IAS officer, right? So he has a good value addition, but the core theme is what actually do the carbon credits means. Okay, what do they achieve? Okay, we are still speculating. We are still speculating in COP26. This might happen, that might happen. In COP26, something will happen. Then it's more logical to discuss like this exactly has happened. This is how India is affected because of COP26. Our developing countries are affected because of COP26. If something is not yet happened, there is no point in saying like this might happen. In reality, this might actually happen, but still we will wait for a few more days. Yes.
Is there some encouraging more apparently that India may become the next pioneering in renewable technology and can change the where the actual West countries would be limiting in their conventional practices? And India would be funded by selling its carbon credits.
No, I think before India even have that kind of technology, most of the Western countries will go for carbon neutral or carbon reduction, right? So they are already heavily investing in carbon neutral technologies. See, if India with this kind of ecosystem is having this many startups, like renewable energy startups, don't you think Israel, USA, and all those things are generations ahead? Sorry? I think there is 2 steps ahead of us in the size of reduction. Right? See, if just imagine if an average American is going for 10 times more carbon footprint than an average Indian. For America to reach carbon neutrality, how much carbon has to be captured or alternated? So if America does not have that road plan or the capacity, do you think they can even announce that? Right? So they are definitely in the path a way ahead in carbon credits. Okay. Still, in spite of all those things, American companies might be buyers. But the thing is, within India, we can have more buyers. People from Karnataka, proud moment, an article about your state. Yes. Finally, our state is also in the news. Happy tears. Yes. For good reasons. Kerala people, your state was in the news because of wrong reasons. At least Karnataka is about women. Yes. Telangana, see, we are very progressive. We are talking about e-government, e-voting. So we are much better state than anything. Yes. No political promotions, please. Yeah. Okay. So no place for women in Karnataka. What is this article trying to tell?
Moral policy.
This article is discussing about moral policing. That there is a recent rise in moral policing in Karnataka thanks to ideological tilt in the political establishments. Apart from that, what she is focusing is on these kind of counseling centers. Not only because of moral policing, because of pandemic, shadow pandemic, because of change in lifestyles. Yes, women need more help now than ever, right? And she does not fit your traditional mindset. That does not make her a wrong person, right? I haven't seen the movie Pink, but I'm sure it is in the same lines. Yeah, right. So if she does not fit your ideological mindset, like a woman has to be like this, just because she is outside the box of your understanding, that does not make her a bad person. Point number 2, because of changing lifestyles, we need more moral support than ever. Because of work pressures, office, the family pressures, or being in isolation, So by closing down such centers, which actually help women, Karnataka government is doing a disservice to the women community. So 6 crores is not a big deal for a state. State should have more counseling centers. Yes. Not only for women, for the entire generation, state should have more counseling sessions. Why? Shadow pandemic is a very common problem. You are locked up with the abuser. She brings the fact, right? Empirical data. Most of the crimes that happen to women are done by people whom she knows. So that's a severe crime rate. Yes. Then societal pressure. So by taking away the legal education, counseling, victims of domestic violence, office, for example, sexual harassment will happen. She doesn't have the courage to complain within the office. She might need someplace else to vent that anger, or she needs some kind of support. So all these counseling centers will help the women, but state is not investing in them. Point number 2 is, apart from this, free advice, free gyan is given by not only the Karnataka political ministers, right? From north to south, if you see any state, almost all the state politicians will have similar statements. Why is she at 10 a.m. in that particular place, 10 p.m.? Why is she dressed like this? Why should she be going with her friends? So you get the idea, right? The entire patriarchal mindset is deeply rooted. So to avoid all these things, they have a good solution, and that should be replicated throughout the country rather than shut down. Okay. So that is a core summary. Because she is a professor, she wrote very, nice slapping article. Yes. If she didn't mince any words, she gave left and right to all the MLAs and MPs without any hesitation, because she does not have any political interest. So the nice line is weaponizing the law to show women their place. What is weaponizing the law? Love jihad, anti-love jihad. So a woman in India above the age of 18, does she need the state's protection to decide her life partner? If a woman is above the age of 18, if she loves someone, okay, irrespective of community, color, religion, or whatever, does someone need to tell her, this is good or bad? As a parent, as a well-wisher, you can tell her, but you cannot force her. Or if you create tools like anti-love jihad acts, it guy, automatically a group of people might come and threaten you. That might create a mental extra pressure on your. Not going to help the woman, but they're going to hurt her more. Yes, you are giving more tools to the people who already have a lot of power. For example, girls' marriage is the most powerful tool in the entire family. Even far-fetched relatives will come, right? Like the vultures. Yes. Yes. They will all come and they will start deciding why this fellow, why not him, why her. So 10,000 things will be discussed. Okay. Apart from this, a group will come, either right wing, left wing, or religious groups might come. Okay. Then they will become a whole new drama. Okay. So X is an Indian citizen, Y is an Indian citizen. They are in love. That's all we need to know. If she is doing the mistake of her life, still she should have the freedom to do that mistake. That is fundamental right. Right? I know she is perfectly marrying the worst guy possible. Okay, he's a mechanic or he's a driver. He does not have anything. Just pure attraction. She's 18, he's 19. They want to marry. I know it's the blunder of her life. Okay, but even then I can only talk to her. Okay, 21, 25, happy. Yes. Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is, see, there is no bar, right? Okay. So the thing is, if I know that it's a wrong thing, she could have found a better husband. She will become more mature in the future. She will realize life. Marriage is not only about love or one day attraction. It's a lifetime commitment. There are 10,000 things she will learn, but she should have the freedom to do the mistake. That is what fundamental rights are all about. Okay. And when she comes back, realizing the mistake, okay, if you are there, that is true love or that is true emotional support for her, rather than I told you so. Yes or no? Okay. So again, it's very hard to understand, because you can say, sir, you don't have a daughter of marrying age. When you are in that particular age, you will understand the pain of that father. I totally understand that. You are groomed like a princess from day one, and if she is marrying some wrong choice, okay, I understand the pain of the father. But still, unfortunately, you cannot arrest her. You cannot get that guy killed, beaten. So all these are lot of problems. We don't want to give one more movie to Ram Gopal Varma, right? Yes. Clear? Okay. So just link this particular statement to Uttar Pradesh statement, where 40% of the women will be, 40% of the contesting people will be women. So that's a progressive idea from Congress. Yeah. For a change. Any questions? Okay. So, we can even understand the pain of the right wingers in a way. Sometimes there are some genuine cases where we can understand the pain, but still that does not give them license to push a lot of their own agenda. Okay. I'm not supporting any group, so don't assume. Okay. So shall we continue the discussion tomorrow? Yes, I think we'll end the session here. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll start with the coal article tomorrow. Coal and which one?
It's casualization.
Okay. Sure. Tomorrow, pakka. Tomorrow, when the class starts itself, you let me know.